I've seen a lot of people talking about switching to Android recently, specifically iPhone users going to Samsung.
Are people finally realizing that Android is better?
And all this switching got me thinking, why don't I tell you all why I switched from Android to iPhone? So I actually use an iPhone as my daily device, right? I have this iPhone 15 Pro and this is what I use every single day. I actually switched from this Pixel 5, which I did love, and I still actually use today as well. But not as much as this, it's kind of like a side phone. I'll break this into two sections. Why I switched, what I like about iPhone and don't like about Android, and then what I don't like about iPhone and I like about Android. Why did I switch? Well, on my Pixel 5, it was great, but I always had to use the fingerprint scanner to do anything that needed some verification. And this didn't work a lot of the time. I would say about 2 out of 5 times it just didn't work and I had to re-tap it again or type in my passcode if it failed. Now on the iPhone, because you're already looking at it, right? When you pick your phone up, it automatically unlocks and you can swipe up and you're in. Anytime you open your bank or need to approve anything, you literally just look at your phone and it automatically approves it. It's so seamless and it's way, way faster. One of the big things as well is that when I was into crypto, there were some apps that only iPhone had. So switching over to this allowed me to gain access to apps which Android didn't have at the time. I've also done some comparisons on my YouTube channel where Android cameras versus iPhone cameras, and you can see there is a difference in video quality, but iPhone always seems to have much smoother recording, where the Androids seem a bit more stuttery. Now, I'm talking again from my Pixel 5 experience. I'm sure improvements have been made since then, especially on Samsung, because I hear a lot of good things about them, but this is what I'm comparing this phone to right now. Also, another thing I noticed when I switched over is apps look better. I would have the exact same app on my iPhone and my Pixel 5, and for some reason, I don't know why, the developers would make the iPhone app look much nicer. Maybe they're coding them separately, like one's in Swift for iPhone and the other's in the Android Studio for the Android, but you can just use stuff like Expo Go to create one app that's uniform for both platforms, and it'll just use the native components. So if you create a button in Expo Go, for example, it will use the default iPhone button on an iPhone and it will use the default button on an Android. That makes it very efficient and easy to code 2 in 1. So I have no idea why they designed them slightly differently, but there you go. Animations as well. On the iPhone, the animations are slower, but they feel way more smoother and more fun and interactive to use. Android is very linear. When you swipe up, it's snappy, right? It's fast. It happens right away, but it's just a linear line straight up. Whereas iPhones are a little more floaty, a bit slower, but feels more fluid, if that makes sense. I'll show some comparisons on the screen, like when I open a folder, you can see it's snappier, but the iPhone's more floaty. Or when you swipe up to see the open apps, you can see everything just kind of has more of a flow on the iPhone, of buttery smoothness instead of a kind of rigid effect that the Android has. And I'm comparing this to my Pixel 5 now, right, which now has Android 14, but when I swapped, I think it was more like Android 10 or 11, something like that. It has come a long way, but they're still very rigid, the animations. I'm looking forward to the new expressive animations that Android's been talking about in Android 16. It's just annoying I can't upgrade that to that version. I have, however, got this, which is my even older phone. It's a Pixel 3a, right? And what I've done, which is quite cool, is I've installed a custom ROM in here. So I have a Volva X, I think it's called, and I've actually managed to get this to Android 15. So as soon as Android 16 comes out, I'll be updating this one to have the latest software. And on a side note, a lot of people hype up iPhone because it has AirDrop, right? But I've never really understood why people are so obsessed with it, like airdropping things to your computer or your MacBook, because everything's synced to the cloud anyway. What I do is I film a lot of my videos on my iPhone, I record it, and then it automatically uploads to iCloud. So on my PC, I just go to iCloud Drive and I can see all my stuff there in the Photos app, and I just download it to my PC. Easy as that. That just seems super simple. I don't need to send or forward anything to myself. I just open the web platform and it's there. Now I will say, if you are on low power mode, it won't automatically sync. You have to go into the Photos app and then start the syncing. But it doesn't take long to upload at all. Right, let's get on to the things I dislike about the iPhone since I've moved from Android. The keyboard. The keyboard is not as good as an Android keyboard. When you go to like copy and paste something, you press right on an iPhone, you have to wait a full second for a little menu to pop up, and sometimes it doesn't. If you tap a word, it has a different menu when you just want to copy or paste something. On the Android, you can literally just hold your finger down and the menu will pop up, and it's a lot easier to move the cursor around on the Android than it is in the iPhone. I know there's some tricks where you can put your finger on the space bar, move it up and down in the iPhone, but honestly, I've tried both. Copy and pasting, selecting text, it's way better on an Android. As we're talking about things we dislike about iPhone and like about Android now, let's talk more about what I like about Android that iPhone doesn't have. A big thing is sideloading apps. If you're a developer, you're developing things, or you want to download someone's app, it's super easy just to download an APK. You don't need any verification or anything like that. You just install it on your phone and it works. Whereas on the iPhone, you need a developer account, or I believe you need to get like a profile or something assigned to your account to be able to download particular apps. Anyways, it's nowhere near as easy as Android. So anything to do with customization, modding, you want to tweak things, you can have a lot of fun, but you can go down a big rabbit hole with Android and stuff like that. Now this is just kind of between my experiences of my Pixel 5 and my iPhone 15 Pro. But I actually do have several other phones. I've got a bunch in the corner here. I have 4 different Androids, Poco phones, I've got Huawei's, I think, Motorola's. But one I haven't actually tried before is a Samsung. I haven't tried a Samsung yet, just because I haven't got around to, I guess, splurging the money on it. But if you want to sponsor me, Samsung, send me a phone out, I'll give you a review. I would love to try the new Samsung S25 and do a little comparison between the iPhone and the Samsung, because they're pretty much the biggest contenders when you look at all the stuff online. There's always Samsung versus iPhone over the competition, really. I do like the native experience you get on Android though, but when you're using a Pixel device. Other than that, I think that's all I have to say about the topic. I'm sure this is controversial, so you all might have some things to say. Let me know down below. If you have any questions, I can try my best to answer them. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in another one soon. Also, don't forget to follow. We're so close to 5,000. Appreciate you all.